Well, hello, my crafty friends. Today I'm here with the September 2020 Create an Inkspire card kit. So I'm going to go over really quickly what comes in the kit. First, you get these sweet treats that tells you a little bit about gummy bears being invented in 1922 and the fact that the green actually tastes like strawberry. These are the Trinity stamped embellishments that are coming with the kit this month. They are super cool. They've got little pumpkins and spiders, bats, happy Halloween, some flat sequins. It's a really neat mix for the card kit this month. In addition to that, we get some foam squares. It's 126 piece foam squares that can be used for your card projects. We're going to get the Pear Blossom Press Easy Lights. If you haven't used these, they are amazingly easy. We have 2 pieces of this card stock, and then we get both of our stamp sets that come with the sentiments and the images, which are separate. And then we have a piece of vellum in case you want to use your easy lights, 2 pieces of black cardstock, and 2 pieces of the white cardstock. Now, as an add-on, we do have this paper pack that's called Happy Haunting, and it is double-sided, black and white, black on one side, the same image, this just in white on the other side. So we're going to go ahead and get started with card number 1. I have my Memento Tuxedo Black, some Neenah Classic Crest Solar White, and a piece of the pattern paper. I'm going to be using the candlestick image, and I'm going to just use this Neenah as a template for the idea that I have in my head. So I'm going to go ahead with my Memento Tuxedo Black ink, and I'm going to stamp the candle out 3 times, and I try to get those evenly spaced. And once I get that done, I am going to use that with my brother Scan and Cut to actually scan in the Neenah paper, but I'm going to have it cut out of the pattern paper. So now I've had that cut out, I'm going to line that up on the back of my pattern paper just for placement purposes for a few moments. I also colored a couple of them with my jelly roll pens, and I had my brother Scan and Cut out the shadow of the candlesticks multiple times, about 8 times for each of these candlesticks. I'm going to go ahead and glue those together because I want to do kind of an eclipse type of feature on this card. I am going to stack them up 8 times with black cardstock, and then the last time will be with the actual piece of pattern paper that the candlestick was cut out of with my brother Scan and Cut. Now that will provide some definite dimension and make it appear as if these candlesticks are popping out of the actual cardstock, which is what I was going for. You guys let me know if I hit that mark. So I've got all of those glued together, and I, like I said, used the template of the Neenah Classic Crest Solar White, but now I'm going to actually glue that Neenah piece down as a backer piece. Now I did stamp out Happy Halloween with another piece of Neenah Classic Crest Solar White, and I just trimmed that with my scissors, and I'm going to go ahead and glue that down to the bottom right, and I'm going to have it sit underneath 2 of the candlesticks, so it'll look like the candlesticks are kind of sitting on top of them. So I'm going to go ahead and glue this cardstock panel or the pattern paper panel onto the piece of cardstock, and then I'm going to start popping back in my actual candlesticks that I have cut out with the brother Scan and Cut and glued together to create an eclipse effect on these. I'm going to use my art glitter glue that I usually get from maymaymadeit.com, and I'm going to glue each of those into their respective places, and you can see here how much dimension that provides and allows those candlesticks to pop up off of the page. Now, once I get all of those glued down with that art glitter glue that I have from maymaymadeit.com, the next thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to bring back those 2 pieces that I colored with my Jelly Roll pen, and I'm going to sit each of those in between the other 3. Now, once I get that done, this is kind of what we're coming up with. I really liked the way that this came out. It came the way that I had it in my head. And so now I'm going to bring in some glow in the dark Nouveau drops, and I'm going to use that to do the actual light on each of the candles. So all 5 of the candles will have this kind of glow in the dark feature that will be on each of the tips. Now I wanted to go a little step further, and I started adding some of the glow in the dark Nouveau drops to various areas in the spider webs just to give a little pop of color. And then I brought in these green glow in the dark Nouveau drops as well, and just kind of had fun and went all over the place with these Nouveau drops on my background. And I thought that it brought out just a little bit of color, not too much. I feel like initially I was struggling because I don't typically do Halloween cards, but this turned out to be pretty fun. And although it's spider webs, I guess you could use these for other things. So I wanted to make something that could be multi-purpose. So here's a look at card number 1. Now we're going to move on to card number 2. I'm going to bring in another piece of Neenah Classic Crest Solar White, and I have my ruler. And what I'm going to do here is I'm just going to draw a straight line across. I'm going to do some ink blending, and I wanted to do a night sky and a ground piece. So first thing that I'm going to do is draw me a very light line, and then I'm going to bring in my Misty. Now this time we are going to bring in the coffin image, and I'm going to start out by placing this coffin image in the center of my cardstock, kind of eyeballing, so I'm not sure that it was completely centered. And then I'm going to do one to the left and one to the right, and we're going to go ahead and stamp each of those out. Once I get those stamped out, I am going to also stamp them on some of my Simon Says stamp masking paper, and I'm going to stamp that out 3 times as well. Once I get that done, and I have to make sure that I am doing it on the right side because I'm historical for stamping out on masking paper and doing it on the wrong side, and then still having to use Tombow Mono multi-glue to adhere my mask. So I'm going to just fussy cut those masks out, and then we're going to go ahead and place them on to our stamped out images so we can move on to doing a little bit of our ink blending. I'm going to place these on each of them, and I tried to make sure that I cut right inside of the line so that I didn't get that halo effect when I did my ink blending, and I think I did okay. I had just a few little spots, but nothing major. I also cut out another strip that is going to go across the bottom so that I don't have any bleed over from doing the top. So I'm going to mask off the bottom half or the bottom quarter, and then I'm going to bring in some black soot, chipped sapphire, seedless preserves. I'm going to use ripe persimmon, fossilized amber, and aged mahogany as my colors for our night sky. Now I'm going to start blending this, and I'm going to start from the center, and I'm just going to blend kind of in a circular motion, going from the lightest in the center out to the darkest around the edges. So while I do this ink blending, one of the things that I wanted to let you know is if you have not grabbed this Create an Inkspire kit, it is still available. And Courtney, my friend who is the owner of Create an Inkspire, has been so absolutely amazing. She is providing a coupon code for all of my viewers to use for the next 72 hours or 3 days. So please look in the description box below, and you will find the coupon code that you can use over at Create an Inkspire for 10% off of your order. Now, if you are already a site member, you know you already get 10% off your order. So this will be a double coupon. How awesome is that for you guys? So please make sure you check the description box below for the coupon code for the website. And if you have not looked at creating Inkspire, go over and check it out and come back and let me know what you think. Now we're going ahead and I'm now adding in my black soot and going back through to add in the rest of my color. Then I brought in some of my perfect pearls that's mixed with water to spritz my background, just to kind of give some definition to the background. I guess definition isn't the right word, but I think you guys know what I mean. I'm then going to remove that mask from the bottom and I'm going to place it right above on that line once it is dry. Now your masking paper is not going to want to stick while it is wet. And I'm going to bring in my brown colors for the bottom portion, and I wanted this to look kind of like dirt, and so I'm doing the lighter portion closer to the bottom and the darker portion going up toward the top. And I am going to start and then just blend those two colors out together. I wasn't trying to get a perfect blend, just because I thought with it being the idea of dirt that it would give some texture if it wasn't completely even and smooth. And so now here we go with our peel and reveal, and I am going to bring up all of those masks and we will see that we have a nice sunset and a ground in what is probably, I'm going to say, a cemetery. So now I have decided that I am going to bring in my craft knife and I am going to cut around the inside of each of these coffins, because you guessed it, I am going to make a shaker card. I had to make a shaker at some point during this video because these little shaker bits that came from Trinity Stamp were really, really cool. And so I thought that it would be a must. I tried very hard doing this video to ensure that I used all of the items that came in the kit and not a lot of extras, because I know a lot of people want to see what you can do with the items that come in your kit. Now there's been a lot of inspiration that has been around. I will link to some of the other videos of some of the content creators that have done amazing projects with this kit, so that you guys can have even more inspiration. So make sure you're checking the description box below for all of that information. Now I have all three of them cut out. I'm going to bring in my Scotch 3M foam tape and I'm going to just scotch all around that, and I'm doing a double layer because I wanted to be able to place a good bit of shaker pieces inside the shaker card and still get some movement and also have a little bit of dimension. So I'm going to open this up and I see that there are two of these Happy Halloween pieces, and they are perfect for sentiments all by themselves. So that's going to be the sentiment for the front of our card today. Now I'm going in and placing some of the chunkier pieces so that I can choose what it is that I want in the inside of them. And then I'm just going to start sporadically placing the little sequin pieces and other things inside of the wells. Now I did use some of the foam tape to section off the areas because I did want them to stay in place. I'm going to bring in another piece of the pattern paper that came as an add-on to use as the backing of each of the coffins. And after I take off the backing to the foam tape, I'm going to go ahead and seal that all the way around, and then I will trim that off and we have a shaker card. I thought that this came out kind of cute to say that it's Halloween. I kind of feel crazy saying cute and Halloween together. These are some of the images that I colored with my jelly roll pen, and I am going to fussy cut two more of the coffins out in order to place them in between the three shaker pieces. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to trim these off and make them shorter, just so that I can give a little bit of a different look to those. I'm going to take some of the skulls that were also in the Trinity Stamp embellishment bag, and I am going to place those on the side, and I'm going to decide whether I want the black or the white Happy Halloween. I ultimately went with the white one. We're going to glue all of those down, and that is going to be it for card number 2. So I'm going to give you guys a closer look at what card number 2 looks like, and I just thought that this was really cute. I love the shaker effect. So that's card number 2 for you guys today. Next, we're going to move on to card number 3. I was able to use my foil machine, and this deco foil by Brutus Monroe is called Purple Sketch, in order to foil one of the pieces that came in the pattern paper. Now, I did color up 4 of the brooms, and I am going to make the letter W. Don't ask me why I came up with the letter W, but it sounded like a great thing when I was in my living room coloring them up. So I decided to do 4 and to make them into the letter W. I brought out a couple of the witches' hats to place on the tops of some of the brooms, and then I'm going to bring out that piece of vellum. Now, I am going to use one of the sentiments that says "Have a Witchin' Good Halloween," and I'm going to use some of my VersaFine Onyx Black ink after I use my anti-static powder tool. Now, VersaFine Onyx Black is a pigment ink that can be used to heat emboss, and I used the black ink because I wanted to be able to see, especially because I'm using this block instead of using my Misty. I used my Judikins embossing powder. It's a holographic embossing powder to emboss this sentiment, and then I cut that into a long strip. Now, I've gone ahead and cut down my pattern paper to 4 by 6, and I'm going to start out by gluing down each of my broomsticks to actually form my letter W. Now, once I get those 4 brooms glued down in the way that I want them to be glued, I am going to bring back in those witches' hats, and I'm going to glue those down as well. Now, I'm trying very hard to keep these pretty simple and pretty flat for everyone, because if you are a person who enjoys Halloween and you would like to have this set of cards that I have created today, I would like for you to leave me a comment in the comment section below, and I will do a drawing for the individual who will win this set of cards. So I wanted to make sure that they were easy for mailing. I'm going to now bring in a little bit of twine. I decided some black twine so that it could kind of coordinate with the black that I used for the sentiment. And I'm going to just tie this in a little bow after I have wrapped it around 3 times, just to give this card just a little something extra to finish off the design. So once we have that part done, this card is pretty well done. I thought this one came out cute, and it's probably just because it's purple. You know, I love my purple and I love shimmer, so it came out really well. That is your 3rd card for today. Let's move on to card number 4. Card number 4, I'm bringing out some more of the pattern paper and this 4 1/4 by 5 1/2 sheet that comes in the kit. Now, I've decided that I want to kind of make the idea of a floor. So I'm going to use a piece of the pattern paper to cut the piece that comes in the kit in half, or probably 1/3 of the way down. I keep saying a half, but it's about 1/3 of the way. I am going to go ahead and trim off the excess that comes with that. And then I am going to go on and I am going to bring out some more of these cauldrons that I colored up with my jelly roll pens. And I colored up 3 of them, and I'm going to place them on the floor that I've created, and then I'm going to bring in 4 of the pumpkins that I colored as well. All of these images were colored super simple with my jelly roll pens that I purchased from Amazon. And then I went back into the Trinity Stamps little embellishment bag and I pulled out some of these tiny spiders, and I couldn't help but chuckle because I remember the story Courtney was saying about spraying one of these little embellishments because she thought it was an actual spider in our house, and it just made me laugh. So I liked this boo that was in the pattern paper, so I'm going to go ahead and fussy cut all around it because I like the lightning bolt look that is coming from it, and I'm going to use that as my sentiment for today. I'm going to go ahead now that I've dry fit everything and glue this all down to my actual card base, and then I'm going to glue down each of my cauldrons, and then I will go ahead and place those pumpkins all around the areas to make this design and the scene look a little fuller. Once I have all of those done, I will take my quick stick and I'm going to go ahead and adhere all of those spiders down around the front of the panel. Now, once I get that done, I was having a lot of fun with the idea of these glow in the dark Nuvo drops. This was actually the first time that I had used them, and I'm going to use them to make some little bubbles in order to color this concoction that appears to be coming out of the cauldron. So I used the green for 2 of them, and then I used the yellow for the third cauldron. Now, in addition to that, I used the yellow glow in the dark Nuvo drops to color in the eyes, the nose, and the mouths of all 3 of these pumpkins or jack-o'-lanterns. I don't know what you would call them, but that's what I used. And then I did place a couple additional dots around in the spider webs. And that, my friends, will finish off card number 4. Now, here we go to the last card. I really need to know what you guys think about this one because I struggled. I had a thought in my mind, but I don't know whether it came to fruition or not. So I was really in love with this pattern paper that I was able to foil, and so I wanted to use the last of it, and I really liked these candles. I think that was my favorite image in the stamp set. And then I'm going to bring in some glitter. Now, you guys know I love glitter. I love all things that shimmer and shine, so I had to bring in some glitter. I used my purple tape roll to create a circle, and I'm going to bring in some Stick It adhesive because I want to bring in a little bit more shimmer, and I wanted to make it look as if it was a moon. So I'm going to cut out this circle and I'm going to place it on top of this black cardstock. Once I get it placed on the black cardstock, then I am going to remove the top in order to show the adhesive so that I can use that to adhere the glitter. Now I'm going to bring in a third glitter. This is a holographic glitter, and I thought that it went very well for showing the colors that you might see shifting in a moon. So I'm going to come back and I'm starting to dry fit these together, and what I wanted was to create some wisps in the air. And I think that when I did this initially, that the lines that I drew came out too thick and possibly the colors were not exactly the best. So I want you guys to tell me, this is the first one and I'm leaving this in just so that you guys know that everything does not always work out exactly the way that you want it to. But if you walk away and come back, then you can usually still come up with something fairly decent. But I'm going to allow you guys to tell me what you thought in the end. So now I'm going to bring in a couple more lines, and I'm just using my art glitter glue to adhere all of this glitter. It dries really, really fast, and it doesn't seem to brush off even before I used a fixative to fix it onto the paper. Now, the second glitter that I'm using is kind of like a black holographic. It has a lot of shimmer and shine to it, and I really was drawn to it, but I'm not sure that it was the best to use for this. So this is what we have initially. I do love the shine. I love the shimmer, just not sure that the wisp came across the way that I wanted it to. So I'm still kind of working on it, still trying to hold on to that purple foiled cardstock because I really, really love all things purple, and I love it even though it has spiders on it, which I don't love. So then I got to thinking about it and I was just not happy with it. So the image on the left is my redo. I think that this came across a lot better, and I liked the fact that the lines were thinner. In addition to that, I decided that maybe the spiders needed to go on the bottom, and I decided that I would cut that bottom piece down a little so it was not so much of the spiders showing. And I'm going to go ahead and glue those two candles and the hat down right on top of the section with the spiders. And once I get that adhered, then I'm going to use my scissors and I'm going to trim down the space around the spiders so that that is a little thinner for us. So once we get done, this is what we came up with, and I then decided that I wanted to use the sentiment that says have a spooktacular day. Now I really thought that this fit very well in the space that was left over, and I wanted to use some of my Lawn Fawn glow in the dark embossing powder. I thought that that would be absolutely amazing. Well, guess what, guys? It didn't work. I don't know what was wrong. Does embossing powder go bad? Maybe it does, because this didn't glow in the dark, nor did it heat and melt at all. And I tried this like 5 times. So you guys will see that here again, I had an image that I thought I had ruined my card. However, in the end, I was able to rework it and work it out. I swear this card was the testimony in all of this. So I ended up using some of the Brutus Monroe gilded embossing powder in order to make my sentiment, because I could not for the life of me get the glow in the dark embossing powder to stick. So I just cut around the sentiment and I glued it flat onto the actual card base to finish off our 5th and final card for today. So I hope that you guys have enjoyed. I hope that you guys got some inspiration. Please don't forget to check out the comments section and the description box below for all of the information. You guys have a wonderful day, and I'll see you again in the next video. Bye.